video, but I hadn't found anything really interesting to talk about. I've recently come across a thing called WorkAudioBook, which allows you to listen and repeat to various audio. This little program is very good because it allows you to do repetition for accent reduction. In fact, repetition for accent reduction is a bit of a misnomer, because what you're actually trying to do is not lose your accent, but rather to gain another accent, a native-like accent. Now the thing is, everything we learn is basically learned by repetition. Regardless of the skill, whether it's throwing a baseball or archery or golf or learning a language, everything is learnt by repetition. So learning the prosody of a language, which is the rhythm and the speech and the annotation of a language, repetition will help you here. So purposeful, tenacious practice is what you need to get your accent right. And remember, we're not trying to lose our accent, we're trying to gain the accent of the native language. Now, a way to do that is to basically mimic a native speaker. And in a classroom, this happens sometimes because the teacher will correct you, you'll get corrections on your pronunciation and your speech and your prosody. But in fact, you don't get enough. So really what you want to do is to get that same type of repetition while you're self-studying. Now, I've read quite a good book on this by a Swedish professor, but the recommendation that he has is for Audacity, which is a good program and can do a lot of stuff, but for simplicity's sake, I would recommend you try this WorkAudioBook. The Windows version is free, and I think you pay for the app version. But just to show you the Windows version here, I've loaded up the Three Musketeers, which I can play using the typical play, fast forward, etc. buttons. But you notice there's some extra buttons here, which I'll get to in a minute. But basically you can play the audio
Sans doute, les détails que nous avons signalés, la chose qui nous préoccupa le plus,
and you'll notice that it's broken up into waveforms. Now each of these waveforms the program automatically generated when it loaded up the MP3. So it's effectively parsed out the sentences for you already, and it lets you go through the sentences. But it also allows you to loop through the same sentence again and again and again. So for example, this sentence here, we can loop through it.
À laquelle bien certainement, est une chose à laquelle bien certainement, est une chose à laquelle bien certainement,
and it will just keep doing that same one again and again and again until you like it. Now, the other thing that it will do is it'll let you select a certain portion, so you can click on your mouse and drag to the bit that you want. So if you only wanted to listen to that bit, you could.
À laquelle bien certainement, à laquelle bien certainement.
Now this button I really don't have a lot of use for, but it basically plays the next selection and repeats
Personne avant nous n'avait fait la moindre attention. Personne avant nous n'avait fait la moindre attention.
Personne avant nous
n'avait fait la moindre attention. Personne avant nous n'avait fait la moindre attention.
Straight away, but you have to actually click it and then do the next
D'Artagnan raconte.
But there we go. That's just a personal preference. But it's a really good program for just doing repetition of
D'Artagnan raconte. D'Artagnan raconte.
Now the other thing that this is useful for is this program will actually let you load not just the MP3 but also subtitles files or basic text files. So now I've got the text of the Three Musketeers here and I can try and load it, but the problem is of course that it's not a subtitle file. So it prompts me to ask me if I want to turn on the subtitle editor, and because I can't be bothered to subtitle an entire book, I just press no. But unfortunately, I don't have anything with subtitles, but it displays the subtitles here as you're progressing along. So as you move to the next one or to the end, etc., it will allow you to see, it will automatically jump to that particular bit of the transcript, which is quite useful. You can also use the slider bar to move along the audio as you please, and you can scroll in and scroll up with your mouse to get larger and smaller waveforms. But to use this effectively, normally what I do is I select the sentence that I want to repeat, and normally this would be a sentence which contains some of the words or sounds that I have a problem with the pronunciation of, like, I don't know, the French R, for example. And then I would put this on repeat and I just listen to it again and again and again, at least 10 or 20 times. And then I begin to repeat after the native speaker. And I continue to repeat this until I feel confident that I'm actually saying this more or less the same as they are, like pretty much exactly the way they are. And then on my computer I basically start to turn down the audio so that, but continue to repeat, but slowly turn down the audio so that in effect I begin to listen to myself saying the sound, so that eventually you have the same pronunciation, you have the same prosody, you have the same intonation, speed as the native speaker who was reading out this this selection. And I find it very useful, and hopefully you will too. Sorry about the long hiatus between the videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for your attention.